You are driving down a steep canyon. As you make your way around a tight curve, you see a cop hiding in the landscape. You check your speedometer. It reads 68 miles per hour, but you are in a 65 mile per hour zone. You check your rearview mirror, and the infamous red and blue lights flick on. Now, you have a $50 ticket, additional points on your license, and you waited for 20 minutes on the side of the road, all for a 3 mile per hour over the speed limit ticket. Now, this cop has become the face of those negative things. Cops these days seem to be seen as ticket or citation machines. The Bureau of Justice Statistics reports that in 2008, 44% of face-to-face contact between officers and U.S. residents were due to traffic stops. The report continues to say that stop drivers reported the majority of these stops were due to speeding tickets. Our officers should be seen as heroes to keep the peace and safety of our communities. Instead, being around a cop is almost unnerving, as though you need to stand a little straighter and walk a little smoother. But why? Why does this have to be the case? My research has shown that cops are compelled to write unnecessary tickets to fulfill illegal quotas. These illegal quotas may be masked as standards, but they are illegal all the same, and they are causing the public to be harassed, and thus causing a poor relationship between the officers and the public. To help this image problem, speed cameras can be used to cover the speeding tickets, which are the majority of these negative experiences the public is having with police officers. Now, the speed cameras are the face of these negative experiences instead of the police officers. Speed cameras can also help drivers by administering the tickets in a consistent manner and also warning the drivers of their existence. Even though quotas for police officers are illegal, they are still around. Sometimes they are masked as standards, or sometimes they use other words to cover their existence, as quotas has become some sort of a dirty word. Polanco, an NYPD officer, reports to the National Public Radio in April 2015 that the NYPD officers had an unwritten rule. They were expected what was called 20 and 1. This meant 20 tickets and 1 arrest per month. Every time that Polanco sought outside help, the NYPD always denied the existence of any quotas or standards. At the time of this report, Polanco was suing the NYPD. In the same report, Chuck Wexler, the executive director of the Police Executive Research Forum, explains why some departments might still use quotas. On the one hand, quote, "On the one hand, there is an understandable desire to have productivity from your officers. But telling them that you want to arrest X number of people, you have to cite X number of people, it just encourages bad performance on the part of the officers. These illegal quotas are harassing the public, causing a poor relationship between officers and public." To become the new face of these ticket machines and relieve officers from most of these negative experiences, speed cameras can be used. New York has already begun using speed cameras. The WNYC, a public radio station in New York, reported that in the year 2014, New York had 471,625 speeding tickets issued by speeding cameras alone. Compare that number to the 117,767 speeding tickets issued by officers. The vehicle crashes in these areas where speed cameras existed were declined by 3.9%. The crashes with injuries near camera locations also declined by 13.4%. So as we can see, speed cameras are not only effective in administering tickets, but also in causing safer roads. Let's take the UK for an example. They have had speed cameras in operation since 1992. In a report titled the National Safety Camera Program, 4-year evaluation report gave the findings for the 4-year evaluation in a county called Hertfordshire. They found that in the sites of newly installed cameras, 42% fewer people were killed or seriously injured. So for a country who's been using speed cameras for over 20 years, are still finding benefits from installing more. This is in part from how the UK has set up their speed cameras. In the UK, speed cameras are not a trap, nor an inconvenience to safe drivers. In fact, they are highly visible and require road signs to warn drivers of the speed cameras. The speed cameras also have a tolerance. These tolerances are reported by the Daily Mail, a popular newspaper in England. The tolerances range from 5 miles per hour in 30 mile per hour zones to 9 miles per hour in 70 mile per hour zones. Though these tolerances differ to officials' discretion based on the needs of the area, we can see that there is some comfort room for drivers. To also help that these readings are accurate, the speed cameras use two methods. The first is a radar gun. The second involves pictures taken and white markings on the road to help establish exactly how fast the car was going if there are any arguments. So, if a driver is not attentive enough to see these visible markings on the road, on the signs, and the speed cameras themselves, and they are speeding over the tolerance, then I think that a ticket is most certainly justified. In my 2 years that I spent in England, I only ever saw one car pulled over by a police officer. In England, I'd like to add, police officers have a much better reputation than they do here. To conclude, my research has shown that police officers are burdened by illegal quotas. This makes them harass the public and cause a poor relationship. Speed cameras can be the new face for most of these negative experiences, speeding tickets. We have a need for speed cameras.